mentioned yesterday. We have Greece there. We have Troy right here. Have you guys read the Iliad and the Odyssey, the full thing? Amazing. Like, I think every learned person should read those books, right? Here we go. Brad Pitt. And Troy. So on your timeline, just don't do old palace and new palace. Just don't even put that on your flashcard. Just write Minoan 1900 to 1400 BC, okay? And Mycenaean 3000 to 900. You do not have to do Aegean. You could just, because this is its own thing. So Cycladic, Minoan, Mycenaean on your flashcard and on your time. That's all you have to do, okay? Again, for all of this, choose one date for your flashcard. So Cycladic, just do like maybe 2500, right? So that way it's like Old Kingdom is 2500, this is 2500, probably Sumerian is 2500. Done, like easy for you. Minoan, I always do like 1700 in my brain for that. And then Mycenaean is earlier, so I do like 1300. No. Like I do, well, yeah, 1300 is fine, okay? And don't put the Dark Ages. I guess you can, you don't have to. It's not a huge deal, okay? So let's talk about Cycladic art. So the Cyclades, you guys are, they should be these islands right here. Okay, Cycladic. And so it really is the time of legendary Troy. It's sort of exciting, right? Like, you got to wonder, like, from those probably wars came this sort of mythical story of the gods helping them. It's really sort of cool, okay? So here we go, two figures of women. How would you describe them? Good. Very abstracted, right? So abstracted, lacking a lot of detail. Are they really curvy or more flat? Flat. Good. Do they look like they're standing up or lying down? Lying down. Okay, good. By the way, go back to the slide right here. You can just note there's no written records. You don't really know their language. So everything I'm telling you is going to be like, oh, we think it's for this. Okay? And that's why you're not going to write essays about it. Okay? Most of the work we have of theirs is marble, and it's found on graves, mainly female. Some males, but like mainly female. Very sort of stylized, schematic. Their face is always the same. It's sort of like flat. It was always painted. The paint's gone, but their nose is sort of like protruding out. Okay? You have the pubic triangle right here, so that's why we know it's female. And like these small little breasts and like tiny little arms on graves. Here you go. Seated heart player. How do you know this is Cycladic? Yeah, the face, like very geometric in shape. So super easy for you to know. Okay, 2500 BCE. I really do love them. I think they're really adorable. It's hard, like, and this is pretty amazing. This little space, these spaces are called a negative space, and they use that really well. Like it really, they go through instead of just being a blob. You get a great sense of three-dimensionality with them. By the way, what is it? Okay, good. Okay, Minoan art. Minoan 1700 BCE. Minoan's going to be a little bit more complex. You're really going to be focusing on, and this is on Crete, on that little island. So that's where we are, so you might want to mention that. It's a very large island, very self-sufficient, a lot of olive oil. I mean, whenever you think of Greece, that's the kind of stuff you think about, right? Like islands and olive oil and hummus, right? So fruit and sheep and cattle, okay? And olive oil is actually very important. Like back then, they would use it not just for cooking, but as a scent. So they would put on it like perfume, okay? They would also use it as a cleaning agent for your body, okay? And also for tomb. So like in the Iliad, when Hector died, remember when Hector dies, right? They wrapped his body in olive oil as like an embalming sort of agent, cleansing agent, okay? You are not going to have huge fortifications. Why aren't you going to have huge walls around this? Yeah, they're an island, right? So good, you're using common sense, people, right? But unlike, what's another building we saw with a big wall? Good, right? And why did you need that? Their asses, they're constantly at war, and it's really easy to attack each other there, right? Whereas here you have natural ocean defenses, right? I would want to live here, right? Wouldn't you? Like ocean breeze, just walk around, right? And so it's very typical of these red columns of Knossos, right? So in our story, that's where we read about how King Minos invited all of his people in preparation to die before the Minotaur, okay? And so it's very sort of maze-like here too. Knossos, 1700, that's all you really need to know, okay? And the red columns, you can go visit it today. They taper down to the bottom, that's all you need to know for that. You can see some ceramics. Okay, so on a test, when I say, what is it? You would say ceramics. Okay? Ceramic arts. By the way, you have a lot of murals on here. And courtyards. Look at this. Isn't this beautiful? It's a little pendant jewelry. Here we're going to talk a little bit about metalwork. Okay? So, lost wax casting, I think we'll talk about that in Greece instead. Repoussé. Repoussé is like this, where you take a piece of metal and a hammer, and you like hammer it out so that things are like jetting out. Okay, so that would be a technique. So if I said, what is it? You could say, sculpture. You could say metalwork even, and then I would say technique, and then you would say repoussé. Okay? So repoussé is really the key one that you need to know, and gilding. Niello, not as important. Niello is when you take black like powder, and then you like put it into these tiny holes like in this deer, and then you melt it. That's all it is. Okay. Gilding though is very important. We'll talk about gilding throughout the school year, and gilding is when you take gold leaf, very thin layers of gold, and then you put it on wherever. You can put it on wood. You could put it on other metals, and so you can see the horn right there. That is not pure gold. That's like, I believe, a bronze or like a wood, and they put the gold leaf on it. Okay, so that would be gilding, and it is just with gold. Any questions about the metalwork? Good. Gilding? Yeah. The gold leaf. So gold leaf is essentially like pounding of gold, so very thin layers, and then you put it on top of. We'll talk about this one, and then I'll have you read to finish the story. Okay, good. Young girl gathering saffron crocus flowers. Okay, is this the flashlight? No? Okay. Now, Minoan art is very easy. Like, when they paint people, it's very easy to tell when it's Minoan because they have these very pinched waists, and oftentimes the women have these like layered sort of bohemian skirts like this. Their breasts are also open, so I guess they would walk around with like covered skirts, right? And then just like their boobs are like hey, what's up, right? Like, and so that's Minoan. So that's an easy way to tell. Now look at her, and I want you to compare her to Egypt. How is she different? Good, wonderful. She's much more naturalistic. She's picking flowers, right? She is a woman, right? She's not like this, right, or whatever, like Egyptians do. She's very just sort of fluid. She's doing an everyday life thing. They do care about religion. They do care about what's going to happen to you, but they're much more in the now, right? You have dolphins, you have, right? So like, I mean, we don't know exactly everything that's happening, but like from the art, we sort of see this sort of shift or like a difference in how things are portrayed. She's a young girl because we have that little lock of hair, and her hair is now growing out. I guess they all shave their head as well. And this is all part of a huge fresco, and you have these beautiful colors, like these reds and blues, and note the wavy lines. That's a little bit different from Egypt too, right? Egypt is very rigid, right? So, there you go. Here too, how would you know this is Minoan, not really Egyptian? Yeah, the wavy lines, the colors, right? The blue, the yellow, it's very natural. Look at the sparrows. And essentially it's sort of like and this is going to be one of your earliest landscapes ever. What's a landscape?
Is it a painting of like in nature?
Yeah, a painting of nature. Okay, painting of nature. And so I will say, what is it? And you would say? No. Painting / fresco. And I would say, what type of painting? And you would say, landscape.
Was the last one a painting?
Yes, fresco. Fresco painting. Usually like for like frescoes. If you wrote painting, I'd still give it to you. This is a wall painting. Okay, so they would have these beautiful sort of wall paintings, and like I guess when the like sailors would come to shore, that like the rocks would actually look like sugar, like blue and yellow from the sun, and so it's actually supposed to be a very sort of accurate depiction of what it looks like. It's really beautiful. How do you know this is Minoan? Good. What else?
The wavy, the pinched waves.
Good. The pinched waves should really help you, right? Do you see a common theme though with other cultures how they paint like the men red? Yeah. We'll talk about this one later. So open up to the first pink, and you want to like try to get further into it. Yeah. I will today, and I'm going to be running out. So we're in the first pink. You want to go from section 4 to section 7. So you can just skip through, make sure you get the story. Is this going to be Starbucks?